How about one more round of applause, not only for Katie, but for Sullivan and Gary Cooney as well. And great to support your wonderful high school. It's truly a pleasure to be here today. I enjoy having the opportunity to speak with young folks across the country because this is such an amazing time in your life and in your career. And in fact, this is going to be the greatest transformation in society as it relates to technology and vocation. I'm sure in history you've read about the transformation from farm to cities. You read all about and learned about the industrialized age, but nothing has prepared us fully for what will transform with the age of AI. And you all are at a point in time where you are right at that cusp of the old school versus the new school. And you are going to have the power and the opportunity to make a decision about how you will use AI with values, with guidance that further the opportunities for you and the limitless opportunities for you to now truly make a difference in the world. Because for the first time ever, irrespective of where you live, opportunities, you have access to the world's knowledge as long as you have access to broadband. And luckily in the United States, that is pretty much universally available. So if you have the drive and the determination, you have the opportunity to gain access to the world's information and the world's tools that now allow you to accomplish things that before were not reasonable to even presume were within your power of control. So with that, real quickly, I'd like to ask everyone to stand up who has used ChatGPT. All right, teachers, take a look around. Teachers, take a look around. All right. You guys may not have that here. We have them in television. Stay standing, stay standing. Stay standing if you have used Claude. If you have not used Claude, sit down. Can you get it? All right. Stay standing if you have used Perplexity. All right, thank you very much. You can have a seat. Hopefully that was extremely visible for all of the teachers to see the level of AI use even in your school. We had a professional development session yesterday for the teachers here at John Carroll. We also did one at another school in Birmingham, and I was also over at Stanford University. And I oftentimes am asked, are we behind? And the answer is no, because AI is moving so quickly. So when we think about it, first and foremost, I want to thank Father John and Principal Steele for opening up not only their doors, but their hearts and their minds to this conversation, and obviously with the support of Gary Cooney and others, to have this really vital conversation around AI and what it means for your school. The real goal here is to ensure that we create transparent understanding around AI use and the expectations. And that's really a big part about what today is about. And then the objective is to have a conversation that builds trust, because trust at the heart of this really matters. Now, I know we have some parents in the room that were invited as well to attend. Let me let you know, if you feel a little anxious about technology, you're not alone. 85% of parents will say that they feel uncomfortable navigating their kids' progression in technology. I have a now 13-year-old daughter who has no qualms with telling me how I should or should not be doing my marketing reels, whether or not they're too long, they're too short, what have you. So parents, don't worry, it happens to all of us. Now, I like to put this slide up just real quickly because I'm going to ask you as students first and then as parents, would you want any of your friends to be given the keys to the car if they didn't have a learner's permit? No? Parents, could you imagine giving the keys to the car to your kids without them having a learner's permit having spent a year behind the wheel with you or someone else to make sure they know how to drive, and then gone to the DMV and actually passed a real test with someone else? Probably not, right? Well, the reality is a vehicle has tremendous opportunity to give you independence and opportunity and freedom, but it also comes with tremendous risk and potential for harm. And when we think about AI, it's a very similar equation. However, the challenge is we as parents haven't had 20, 30, 40 years of experience driving and having the knowledge and the experience to be able to pass down to our children. Why? Because AI, in particular ChatGPT, has been the most successful product launch in the history of the world. They reached 100 million users in 60 days. That means none of us really had the baseline of experience or knowledge, and yet this tool is so empowered and embedded in everything you are using in a day-to-day life. How many of y'all use Netflix? You've got AI search in there. How many of y'all have Siri or Alexa in your homes and you're using those? How many of y'all use Google Chat? You type the first things of where's the best pizza, and then it fills in the blanks for you. You're using AI without having to make a choice to use AI. And that is really where there's a huge need to understand that collectively together, we as families, teachers, and students must raise the conversation around what are our values in using this technology. How can we use it for good? How can we use it to propel the opportunities to make a difference in this world while not shortchanging our learning and our opportunities to grow as individuals? So with that, I wanted to share a specific video of this gentleman, who I know you recognize. He has been by far the most eloquent worldwide leader to make a statement and clarity around AI and its purpose in society and what it means for you, high school students. And the video we're about to watch for just about 3-4 minutes is of him talking to 15,000 live high school students in Indianapolis this last fall, and then also a worldwide audience. Of us about how you're struggling with some of that. So why don't you ask a question?
Yes, thank you, Katie. Good morning, Holy Father. My name is Michael Sisto, and I'm from the Diocese of Honolulu in Hawaii. Oftentimes, many of us, including myself, can rely on using AI or ChatGPT to assist in finding solutions in things such as our schoolwork, like writing a good essay or walking us through a math problem or answering a history question, and really using AI as a tool or a resource to find solutions and answer to a problem that we may have in our mind. So, Holy Father, what do you think we should be cautious of when embracing this new technology?
Well, that's really an important question, Micah, and I'm really glad you asked it. As you all know probably better than I do, AI is becoming one of the defining features of our time. Recently, there was a conference here in Rome focused on protecting children and teenagers in today's digital world. Encouraged the participants to work together to create policies that will keep you safe, keep all of us safe from the risks that come with AI. But I also reminded them, and I take this opportunity to remind all of you, that safety is not only about rules. It's about education, and it's about personal responsibility. Filters and guidelines can help you, but they cannot make choices for you. Only you can do that. These years of your life are meant to help you grow into mature adults. Spiritually, this means deepening your friendship with God and becoming more like Him. Intellectually, it means learning to think clearly, to think critically, to examine reality, and to search for truth, beauty, and goodness. It also means strengthening your will with God's grace so you can freely choose what helps you grow, avoid what harms you. Every tool we're given, including AI, should support that journey, not weaken it. Using AI responsibly means using it in ways that help you grow, never in ways that distract you from your dignity or your call to holiness. In your education, make the most of this time. AI can process information quickly, but it cannot replace human intelligence. And don't ask it to do your homework for you. It cannot offer real wisdom. This is a very important human element. AI will not judge between what is truly right and wrong. And it won't stand in wonder, in authentic wonder, before the beauty of God's creation. So be prudent, be wise, be careful that your use of AI does not limit your true human growth. Use it in such a way that if it disappeared tomorrow, you would still know how to think, how to create, how to act on your own, how to form authentic friendships. Remember, AI can never replace the unique gift that you are to the world.
What do y'all think about that? Pretty powerful, correct? As I said, the most eloquent international leader who's been able to bring to the forefront the reality of recognizing that AI has fundamentally shifted our interaction with technology and what it can mean for us. And I love the fact that we have a Pope that actually can laugh, because he's in tune when he says, don't use it to do your homework. But at the end of the day, the question is, who wins, who loses? But he's also saying you should be able to use it for schoolwork in certain situations that help you expand and develop your knowledge and your capabilities to really explore what's possible out there. And so when we think about it, I want to talk about really helping us understand just real quickly, what is the difference between generative AI and search, just as a clear baseline. It's important to recognize that generative AI is a probability model. It has been trained to make a guess as to what is the next word. Think of your Google search bar when you type something in. Or to make a probability of what is the most likely answer. The challenge with that is, if you are not the majority, if you are the 49.9 versus the 50.1, it will lean towards the 50.1. And so it requires human discernment, your ability to ask the right questions, to understand the capabilities and limitations of this technology, to be able to use it for good, and to proceed forward with whatever are the goals and objectives you're trying to do. So it's not, it is not fact. It's also been trained to use what it has learned. It is a large language model. It is learned from the past to make a presumption or a bet based upon probabilities. What comes next? But turn to your left and turn to your right. Do you all always make the same decisions? You don't. So you have to think about understanding why, in fact, AI is so powerful yet also so different. It can help think for you and provide solutions, and it's based upon the probability. But 49.9 to 50.1 is a very thin margin of difference. Now, it's very different than search. Search is based upon curated human knowledge about what the algorithms have seen has been pushed up as being relevant based upon human choices of material that's been created. That's very different than what generative AI is. And now when you use Google, you actually see the integration of generative AI with an AI summary answer with still the search bar answers below. So it's really important to discern and know that difference and apply it to how you do it. Now when we think about it, I think it's also important to recognize and understand the difference between deepfakes and misinformation. Because for parents in this room and adults, we were once taught that if you see it with your own eyes or you hear it with your own ears, you know it's real. But you all know that's not the case. You're the first generation to be in a situation where you cannot trust what you see with your own eyes and what you hear with your own ears. And that is called deepfakes and misinformation. Now, how many of y'all have seen on social media Prince Louis doing breakdancing or other fun stuff online? A few of you guys? You probably end up drawing a conclusion that you think this little kid is out of control of the family monarchy out of England. Yet every single one of those videos are deep fakes. And you can see just through that one example how it has created a worldwide impression about who he is and how he behaves, whereas the vast majority of the world will never have a chance to see him live, let alone meet him in person. So just at an extreme level, you can see how deepfakes can fundamentally change and impact people in very negative ways. And misinformation is something you have to deal with every single day, whether you're on TikTok, whether or not you're on Instagram, whether or not you're doing searches. Misinformation is the ability to manipulate both video, image, and sound in a way to convey what you want to see. We've seen it in elections. We've seen it where calls are made automated through AI from a specific candidate that says to people, stay home. We've already won the election, you don't need to vote. We see it in images that show oppressed people until you take a bigger shot back and see the full picture. You are the first generation that has to learn to be skeptical of the images, the videos, and the audio that you hear and are exposed to. That puts a significantly different level of responsibility for you to be able to discern what is real and what is not. And learning to ask the question, what is the true meaning or expected outcome of me seeing this image or this video? It's looking for that discernment to know where and why it is. So with that, for the parents and the teachers who are in the room, with AI, we've talked about how easy it is to talk about how you can use AI for homework. I'm going to get a demonstration in just 1 second. But this is a question that has to change. How many of y'all have ever been asked by a parent or a teacher or a caregiver, did you get your homework done? Okay? That question is no longer relevant. The question is no longer, did you get your homework done? The question now is, how did you get your homework done? Why? Let me show you. So, how many ninth graders do we have in the room? Show of hands. Oh, that's it. All the ninth graders are off over to the side. Let me ask you all, as ninth graders, and everyone in the room can answer this question. If you were given this ninth grade algebra worksheet, you needed to solve the following problems. Keep your hands up if it would take you 15 minutes to complete that worksheet. Okay? If it would take you 30 minutes, keep your hands up. Okay, I'm not going to ask 45 minutes or an hour, but clearly it's going to take some time, right? Well, teachers and parents, again at the demonstration we showed this, teachers and parents, your child can now take their phone, they can snap a photo of that one-page worksheet, and they can bring it over to ChatGPT, and they can say, answer these questions. Show me all words and clear answers. I'm not going to ask anyone to raise their hand and tell me if they've ever done this, but I did see virtually everyone in this room stand up and say they've used ChatGPT. How long did it take for it to give me the answers? Not even a second. Instantaneously, I have answers to that entire worksheet. What's going to take the longest was me to actually type into ChatGPT that I need the answers, and then for me to use pen and paper, or pencil and paper, and copy this over to another sheet. So, what used to be a clear example of readiness for an exam was your ability to complete homework is no longer a predictor of success on your test. And so you're going to find teachers continuing to evolve the method in which they evaluate and judge your progression and understanding in academics. Now, some students may be disappointed that I'm sharing this, maybe not, but now that I'm sharing some of these answers. But now let me share that there is another way. You can actually go here to more, and you can click now something that just came out this summer called Study and Learn. But I'm going to first do it and say, I need a 1,500-word essay on civil rights and Selma for 12th grade composition. What do you know? Instantaneously, I have a 12th grade 1,500-word essay on civil rights and Selma. Now, I could copy this and move this over to my school-issued laptop if we have it, or to my own program, and turn it in. But let me ask you a question. How many of y'all before AI ever turned in a perfect paper without a single error? Got a couple people willing to raise their hand. Congratulations. Can't wait to see your SAT scores. The vast majority of us will have some issue with a paper. But as a high school student, if you're opening up TikTok today, you're probably getting an ad from Grammarly that is saying, hey, guess what? Do you want to get an A in composition? Use Grammarly. We'll help you write your outline. We'll make sure every single sentence is perfectly aligned. You'll turn this in and you will get 100 on your paper. But you actually didn't learn anything in that process, right? So you'll actually find that if you actually take this 1,500-word essay and submit it, if your teacher now asks you to say, you know what? The final paper is actually not the primary point of the grade anymore. It's your ability to stand up in front of the class and talk to us about how did you come up with these conclusions. What is your position on this, and what surprised you in your research? Then it will be that situation that actually demonstrates proficiency and understanding. So if you know that is the case, then in fact what both Google and ChatGPT have just added to their systems over the summer is a thing called Study and Learn on ChatGPT, and it's called Guided Learning on Google. And in fact, let me show you it on Google as an example. So I am going to go to a new chat, and I'm going to hit the plus button. I'm going to go to Tools, and I'm going to say Guided Learning. And again, it's Study and Learn on ChatGPT. And I'm going to say I need a 1,500-word essay on the same question. You'll note it has changed the answer. If I wasn't in guided learning, it would give me the answer. But now it's saying I can't write the full essay for you, but I can guide you through the research, outlining and drafting the process so that you can meet it. So now all of a sudden, has AI become your own personalized tutor to help you think through how you might approach this problem? And to what extent do you think your learning has increased dramatically? Before, if you were writing that 1,500-word paper, you might have been going to Google search, you might have been looking up your textbooks. But now you have a chance to have a conversation with something that has access to all the world's information and thought, and allow you to go into micro lanes of understanding and ask questions and dive deeper and get to the personal voice of the people who were there and part of the challenges and the struggles. Your actual ability as an individual to learn so much more and go deeper like never before, when you use guided learning and study and learn, allows you that opportunity to do that. So as you see, I chose about the legislative impact. And here's where it starts to break it down and talk about the thesis challenge and which of the ideals you want. And this is the Socratic method of how it will take me through working through this. This is unbelievable for you. As long as you have the curiosity to question and to understand, you now can take your work so much further than ever before. So, that is the reality, parents, teachers, and students, of coming to a point of common transparency and understanding around the power of AI and how it's impacting education. So with that, it's important to recognize that, no question about it, with AI, answers come easily. However, what really matters is your ability to focus on the specific skills that you're going to need that will stand out. And when I show this picture, it's like, if you look at it, academic assessments in the traditional way will be changing. The challenge is, it's going to take a little bit of time to do that. So you all are at a unique time where if you choose to take advantage of this, you will be able to accelerate your personal and professional opportunities of success, because most people will stay in the ways of the old until fundamental change happens. And it will take time. I like to give the point of view that I owned my first personal computer in 1984. Today, in 2026, we still in the United States only have 12 states that require a single course in computer science to graduate from a K-12 experience. We have 13,000 decentralized school systems in this country, so it will take time. But schools like John Carroll and others who are taking the step forward to bring this conversation to the forefront enables you to separate from the pack of what's possible. Now, for the parents in the room, let's be honest, for many years, you've kind of just dropped your kid off at school and said the schools are going to take care of that education. But for parents, those not both in the room and those watching the video afterwards, intentionality is now part of the equation. Because when your child leaves the school grounds, it's no longer just the homework assignments or their textbook. They now have the power to use the devices that you've provided to them, whether it be their phones, their laptops, their tablets, to use AI in ways that directly impact what they're learning and how they're growing. And so this is Pat Youngpratt, who is with Code.org and Teach AI, and just really makes the point that this statement is no longer the reality for parents. And so this is a big moment for parents as well. While teachers are trying to figure out how do we navigate this shift, parents actually have to now step forward and start to ask that question of how did you get your homework done? So for those of y'all that are in the room, this is what's now required to thrive in the age of AI. These are the 6 skills and traits you will need in order to be employable. you'll probably note something really important that's not up there. It's knowledge. Because again, knowledge is now universally accessible to anyone with access to a broadband. But how can you use that knowledge? And is that knowledge accurate? Is it reflective to the environment or situation that you're dealing with? All of those are very different questions that you now have to be able to ask and answer. Because knowledge with universally being accessible is only valid if you know how to apply it. So when we talk about these skills and these traits, we talk about critical thinking and problem solving. We talk about creativity and initiative. We talk about the ability to understand and know how to use technology tools, understand the limitations. We talk about the importance of entrepreneurial thinking. Every single one of you all now have at the power of your fingers the ability to be an entrepreneur overnight, to demonstrate the skills and the capabilities you need to thrive. So, how many of y'all like music? All right. How many of y'all would love to be an artist one day? How many of y'all have ever thought about writing a song? Okay. Well, I wrote a song last night. I wrote a song last night about John Carroll. Let's see what you think about it. But let me tell you what I did. I went to Claude, and I said, research everything you can about John Carroll Catholic High School in Birmingham, Alabama. Find all the facts about it that could be helpful for me to create kind of a mantra song for this university, or for this high school. And then create the lyrics for a song. And then I went over to this app called Suno, and I dropped the lyrics in. See the lyrics I dropped in? And I did a couple different songs. One was create an upbeat R&B male and female lead voices for teenagers. It came up with 2 songs in the free version, 2 if I want to pay for them, that matched that. I also created 2 songs that were in a pop version. It took all of 20 seconds to get these songs. I don't know how to read music. Memories forever, John Carroll, my daughter would have been really interested when she sees the video. She's like, Mom, you really didn't do that, did you? As I said, here's another version of it. What's that?
Can you add Drake to the song?
You can put in there you would like it to sound like it. Right?
Wait, can we try it out?
So, I have 4 songs. I will share them with Katie. Maybe they'll put them out. You guys can upvote them whether or not which one you think is relevant. Or who knows, maybe y'all could do a school challenge. And say you all could come up with your own lyrics for your school. Come up with the songs, and then you all can upvote what is your song for use this year. Now, I share this because soccer, basketball, baseball, softball, any of those things? All right. How many of y'all would love to have your team have their own walk-up song? All right. So how many of y'all like having extra cash in your pocket? All right, I talked about the fact that with AI, you guys can become instantaneous entrepreneurs. If you have an idea, you can ask AI, how do I turn this into a business? I'm a teenager, I go to this school, I live here, what do I do? Well, here's an example of how you could use Suno and apps to do this. Go show up at your local baseball field. Ask the parents, would you like to have a walk-up song that's for every kid on your team? Name, number, jersey number, what they like to do. Play the song, you get the information. It will take you less than 5 minutes. In fact, the longest time will actually be getting the parents to give you the information. Let me play you this song. So every single player gets a specific call out in that song that they walk up to and they play before and at the end of every single game. Do parents like sports? How much do you think parents would pay you to create a walk-up song or a team song? You can make some money, guys, I promise you. All right. So when I talk about these key essential traits, I kid you not that with AI, they are at your at your fingertips. To be able to figure out what's unique about what you enjoy, where you have specific interest or talent, or maybe where you don't, but you just wish you did. And you too can create opportunities for yourself. And so that when you go forward with your high school application and you actually need to write an essay about kind of what's your capstone project and what have you done. If you're trying to apply to Georgia Tech, they now expect you to use AI with your application. They don't want to read boring essays that aren't aligned. They want you to show and demonstrate that you know how to use the technology to bring together your thoughts in a cohesive manner. It brings out what's unique about you, but I guarantee you if it's generic, you're out. Let me give you an example. I just got an email in December from a parent. A local community college, the professor sent out a letter and said, your project was to write an essay on where you would like to go travel in the world. How on earth did every student in this class decide it was going to be Japan? 20 plus students in this class all submitted an essay that they wanted to go to Japan. Why? The dollar's really powerful right now. It's really cheap to go there. Every social media influencer is talking about it. And so AI led with what is most popular right now that people are searching with. However, there was one girl in that class who actually has grandparents in Japan. That's the mom who sent me the note. What is she supposed to do? Now she's having to defend why she actually wanted to go to Japan. Right? So when you think about these things, trust that simply taking the answers without making it unique to who you are is not transparent. And you will see that people can see through those. So when you think about these traits as being essential, how do you start to build them? Well, it's called leveraging a national movement to complete a family AI game plan and a student AI game plan. It draws a connection between teachers, families, and students in a transparent way where there's clarity around use and understanding, and you finally have the clarity to know, is AI allowed or not allowed in my class and in this subject? Because right now it's kind of flying underneath the radar. I think Principal Steele said he was on a bus yesterday, maybe the basketball team, and some people were talking about, hey, I'm using AI, my teachers don't even know it. He didn't give any names, don't worry. No names were given. But trust me, your parents, your teachers, your parents, they've all been through this before. So what we're doing is we're bringing it all to the forefront, where you have clear understanding, recognition, and knowledge about what's allowed and what's not allowed. Now, the family AI game plan will be completed with your parents with you, and the student AI game plan you'll complete with your teachers. And by the way, it's due on Monday in your homeroom class. So I share that because now I know a few of you who might be dozing are now going to pop up and realize it's now an assignment that's due on Monday. Okay. All right. As I mentioned, I have a now 13-year-old daughter, so I can definitely relate to the environment here. All right, so we're going to go to the family AI game plan, and I'm just going to walk you through it so you can see where it is. This is the family AI game plan. Your parents with you would select the family AI game plan, and I will let you know, if you're not familiar with magic links, when you put this in here, you're going to get a magic link. You have to then go to your email, click on it, and then that's how you can get access to it. It doesn't require a password, though, as a result of that magic link, but it's always tied to that email. It makes it much more seamless. All right, so for your family plan, they're going to write down the information, and your parent needs to put down their email address, and I'll complete this with you. You'll hit continue. And we ask the question to the parent and to the family. Do you understand the school's approach to AI? Now the reality is, this is evolving so fast. Most schools just now have just a general principle about it, which is treat it like you would any other source and don't use it to replace your work, because it's moving and changing so rapidly. So when you think about this, the question is, yes, we understand the school's general principle about AI, somewhat, we'll review the school or class expectations to learn more, or not yet, we'll follow the teacher direction and presume no AI use unless allowed. That is always the default. So let me make that really clear. If you are not clear if AI is used, the default is no. Okay? And that's part of the transparency. It's now, the elephant in the room has now been said. If you're not sure, it's no. But if you understand the guidelines, you can pretty much understand the guidelines in the Jesuit way and the expectations and the meaning for this. And then it asks the parents the question, are you ready for the new check-in? Yes, we're ready to say, how did you get your homework done, not just did you get it done. From there, we have just a quick discussion about recognition as a family. Where all are you actually using AI today? We use it with voice assistants. We use it with streaming recommendations. Maybe we use it with social media feeds. We use it for maps and navigations. So very simple, very easy. This can be completed in less than 5 minutes. And then I ask your parents with you to say, where is AI allowed? And I talked about those 6 traits, and knowledge not just being it. You have to think about AI today, both in school and out of school. If you're going to use Suno to go create some extra cash, to create walk-up songs, you're learning about AI beyond school. If you're looking to create an app that you can use with your classmates or with your friends, and you're going to use Lovable to do that, that's beyond class, right? These are great ways in which you can build these skills. But it asks you and your parents to say, for learning support, can we use AI to check understanding after trying it on my own? Maybe the answer is no, but you can do it beyond school. For problem solving, double checking my work at hints of stuck. Well, your parents might say no. The unique thing about this family and student AI value game plan is every single family is allowed to choose what is right for their family. There's no prescriptive answer here. There's no right or wrong answer here. It's around understanding what are the teacher expectations and the school expectations, and understanding what your parents' expectations are. Maybe you can use it for writing and creativity or researching projects and everyday life tools. And then it asks your parents to be upfront with you. Where are they using AI? Are they using it at work, at home? And maybe, for your parents, they don't remember necessarily geometry or algebra 2, or trigonometry. Maybe they want to use it to help them help you when you come and ask them a question, right? I know certainly for my daughter, when last year at 11 o'clock at night, the night before a final, she needed to remember how she was going to answer questions about The Tale of Two Cities, The Hobbit, and 2 other books that she read, and I don't remember those books. I don't remember reading them. I'm sure I did. That was a long time ago. I used AI as homework help for myself to allow me to ask the question, what questions could I ask my daughter that would help her prepare for this exam, to think about the character integration. All of a sudden, AI helped me be an effective parent to help her prepare for that test. So parents can use it as a homework aid. And then here, the last part is, what as a family is your learning objective? Do you simply want to stay aware but not really use AI outside of what's expected and required in school? Do you want to test it out, maybe do a MindSpark activity? Do you actually want to learn more, pick an app, Suno, Lovable, Perplexity, figure it out, learn it? Or do you want to dive in? Just that clarity allows real connection where you can also talk to your family about what you're learning. And then the question is, how often do you want to check in on this? Maybe it's once a year with the back to school event. And then you have the family attest that, yeah, we're committed to this. Because as I talked about, AI has changed the game, and intentionality is required. So when you hit finish, you'll see that congratulations, your now family AI game plan has been saved. You can print it or save it as a PDF. If you're turning this into your homeroom, what do you need to do? Print it or save it as a PDF, right? But don't worry if you forget to do that. I will show you how you can come back to it and print it out later. So teachers, if the student says, guess what, I completed it, but I forgot to print it out and I didn't save a PDF, I don't have it anymore, you know that they actually can log in and get it. Okay? So you can just say, log in right now, and you can go get that out. Now, after you've done the family one, or you can do them independently, you got to fill out the student AI game plan. So if I go to the student AI game plan, I'm 13 or older, I will put in there, and always make sure you put in the parent email that you used in the family plan so that they tie together. So you fill out this information, you go to continue, and this is where it's essential that you work with each of your classrooms and your teachers. And you can start asking the questions today as soon as we're done here. Every class that you go to, you should ask the question. And we had the teacher PD yesterday. Ask the teacher for your class, so let's say you have algebra, is AI allowed, not allowed, or allowed with guidelines? Maybe it's allowed with guidelines, and it's that if you're using Savvis, I don't remember if Savvis is 1V or not. Let's say you're using Savvis. You can use it to create test problems to prepare for exams. Cannot use for homework. Whatever your teachers say, you can do history. It's allowed. It's allowed for discovery. You can say English. Guess what? Not allowed. Or let's say you might have a 10th grade English teacher that says it's not allowed. You might have another 10th grade English teacher that says it is allowed. Perfectly fine. Each teachers control their individual classrooms. You're going to learn in both situations. And the reality of, let's say, one says allowed, one says not allowed, some English teachers are saying, you know what? When you write your first draft, I'm actually going to have you feed it through AI and have AI give you the feedback. And then you're going to actually write that final one, but then you're going to stand up in front of the class and present it, so I ensure that you wrote it. Others are going to say, you know what? Nope, I really want us to focus on sentence structure and demonstration of knowledge, and so no AI is allowed. You're going to learn in both of those situations. The critical thing is that you have transparency and knowledge to know what is and is not allowed. So from there, that's a critical one for you. The next 2 pages you can come back to or decide. But I talked about those 6 traits, right? This next section is all about why this game plan matters. It's about helping you create the skills you want to build to have a prosperous life, personally, professionally, spiritually. And so when you think about this, you can tie back to the Explorer mode is really about adaptability and resilience. Is this something you want to work on now, next, or later? Well, let's just say later. Dreamer mode, which is really about initiative and entrepreneurial. You're going to say now, I'm into getting some extra cash. I'm going to try out that Suno thing. Friendship mode, I'm going to do that next. This summer I want to make sure I'm all set. Builder mode, which is about technical fluency later. And again, you can come back to this plan anytime and update this. And then the next part is something that is truly unique and powerful for your generation. Oftentimes when we are young, we have dreams about things that we'd like to see change in the world. And over time, we lose that dream because we're blocked by what we think is possible. But with AI, that is no longer blocked. And so the create more, consume less is rather than just scrolling on TikTok, what if you use AI to help you think through something that you want to see different in the world? So maybe for here, it is about, I want to ensure we have sold out sessions for all our sports teams. Just gonna put this down. And for this, you might actually use Perplexity. And then you're gonna figure out what you discovered. You can add another idea. Maybe another idea here is, I want to solve waste of food in our schools. Whatever it might be, you can see I went two very different directions on these ideas. And again, you can come back to these and fill them out in time and continue to work with it. The idea is as you apply to college, or you look to go work for a company, they now want to know, how have you demonstrated those 6 skills since knowledge is now universally accessible? And these activities are the ones that you will come back to in those essays and in those interviews that will allow you to stand out from others. And why is that important? It's important because you are also a generation that is facing a significant and fundamental shift in workplace access. Just last week in Davos, Switzerland, at the World Economic Forum that brings together the world's leaders both in business and in politics, and stated again, the expectation is that at least 50% of all white-collar jobs will be eliminated in the next 5 years. 50% of white-collar jobs will be eliminated due to AI. It's already happening today. Law firms aren't hiring first-year associates. Accounting firms aren't hiring junior accountants. New roles will be developed, but you are at the cusp of where that change is happening. So you have to take on the ownership and the responsibility to figure out, how do you create separation and show how you can demonstrate value. So when you do that, hit continue. And then the last thing is your commitment. I commit to doing this each semester, monthly or annually. Hey, since I'm focused on building those skills, I'm going to say monthly. I'm going to click here on this thing and say I'm going to do it in a month. There we go. And then I'm going to hit complete my plan. What do you know? PDF or print? PDF or print, exactly, no way. You can save this as a PDF, bring it down, go to your printer, hit save as a PDF. I now have my student AI game plan. When is this due?
Monday.
Monday. You guys are such great listeners. I love it. You've been an awesome audience. Now, as I shared, let me go back here really quickly. If for any reason you forget to hit print or PDF, you can go click here to continue or edit. All right, that was from that homepage. What do you know? Here's my love family plan. And then if I go to down here, there's my student plan. Can I go back, reprint it out, PDF it? Yes. Awesome. So, that is and will be what will, in fact, separate you from a situation where you never leave your parents' house because you're not employable, to having a life where you're going to thrive personally, professionally, and spiritually. That is the power and the potential you have with AI. And as we think about it, I just want to wish you tremendous success. And thank again Principal Steele and Father John and your teachers, as well as Gary Cooney and others who are making this conversation possible today. I'm going to pause the video and say thank you so much for being my support.